Quorum must begin. I was pledge allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America. To the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. This is the Monday, May 19th, county council meeting. We are in quorum. We have an agenda and we plan on sticking to the agenda. If there will be any public comment, it'll be limited to 1 minute. Okay, with that being said, Stacy? Oh, thank you.
So what I'm passing out now are the 3 quotes that the commissioners requested. In reference to this new software program that we are hopefully going to get with your approval. And Becca is my deputy 911 director. She's going to explain kind of the program or the protocols that we have now for our emergency dispatch program.
We're gonna show you guys a picture of what our consoles look like now. That's our 911 screen, our CAD, and then,
I've seen it, yes.
and then the 911 screens along with where these cards are located.
So paint the picture for what I have.
The cards are on the table, the 911 or the radio screen on that console is right next to it. Our computer screen and then the 911 screen.
So maybe Stacy, we can save ourselves a lot of time here
Okay,
by
love that.
talking about the ones that the commissioners
Yes,
that they approved,
yes.
which is,
That is the 57,799. It's the total response. Well. With
What was the total?
799.
I got one. That's your. Yeah.
The last quote for you guys.
so explain to us real quick. How this works, so that's gonna be our upfront
Yes,
cost, right?
correct.
And then there'll be a yearly,
Yes, the
Thank you.
yearly maintenance fee is on the last page here, the 7,289, and that's covered by my 1222 budget.
so when commissioners, Mike, Donnie, you guys took that, want to take that out of JLC, though, right?
Actually, I'm not sure it's passed. I think it didn't we,
Depending on these guys and Justin's gonna look into this.
right? But I don't think I actually voted because we were waiting, so I'm not sure that.
Well, you guys have another meeting coming up,
Yeah, we're gonna vote on it Friday.
Yeah.
so. The will of the council, we could vote on it being contingent to the commissioners approving and Justin's. Okay with it at their next meeting, so. This, I assume then this system is gonna integrate with what you have.
Correct. Yes,
Okay.
it's very customizable. We can work with Jim from EMS and the Fire Association to customize all the protocols.
Okay,
This is a silly question. So why is one $191,000?
That is a 5-year plan.
Okay.
Still, it's even more, that's more expensive even with the 5-year plans.
Okay.
Yeah.
It came through me.
Very expensive.
so with that being said, do we have a motion?
I'll make a motion that we approve the plan, $57,799 upfront cost with CAD integration contingent on the approval of that plan by the commissioners at their next meeting.
Okay, do we have a second?
I'll second it.
Okay, we have a motion by Sandra, second by Kate. Do we have any discussion about it?
This is a plan that you guys are satisfied with?
Yeah, this
Yes.
software program, yes, absolutely. LaPorte County has this software.
Okay,
We
so-
visited them. Mhm.
So this is something that you guys are happy with?
Yes.
And that you,
Very.
okay.
Okay, we have a motion, we have a second, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, motion carried.
Thank you.
There you go. Okay, Mark?
Stacy, they have for a public hearing now.
Yeah.
Next month, it'll be on the agenda, published, for them
1 minute,
at their meeting.
5 minutes in.
So when we came to give our youth club update, we talked about everything that we do for the community. And then you guys had told us to go to the commissioners and and then follow up back with you guys as far as funding. Never told us an amount, as far as funding. This is, this pie chart that you have right here is our shortfall as far as stuff that's not covered for grants. A lot of your grants don't cover big costs. That some of the programming costs are there, but, so this is just a general summary of where we're falling short, where the money would go. This morning at the commissioners meeting, they approved $10,000, which is the same as what the community services receives. And so we're just essentially here following up with you.
I have a question.
Okay,
How did you guys do on radio time?
we did 47,000.
Awesome. Great.
The goal was 55, so we fell short, but
Oh,
nationally, on fundraisers and stuff, every nonprofit is falling short right now just because of the unstable economy. Nobody knows what's gonna happen tomorrow.
I know, Howard, I know you had some good thoughts about this. My granddaughter went through it.
Anytime we can invest in our youth in the county, it's a good investment.
How many kids are we actually?
We had 309.
Wow.
309.
I had quite a few clients whose children go to this.
All my grandkids went to it and.
So it affects and you're gonna look at it this way, every dollar that you invest in youth comes back threefold. So,
Actually, my son was one of them that helped to get this thing rolling many years ago. So I'll make the motion to approve that.
Okay, we have a motion by Bruce to approve $10,000 out of Cume. Cap. Okay, do we have a second? I'll second. We have a second. Bill, any discussion? Okay, we have a motion, we have a second, all in favor?
I,
Opposed? Okay, there you go,
Thank you very much.
I'm sorry, who seconded it?
Bill.
Thank you guys very much.
All right, Cory? Man, we're like way ahead. This is the way it's supposed to be.
Yeah,
It's changed.
yeah, don't.
No, I didn't.
He already
jinx it.
said that once.
She still only has 10 minutes.
So I'm here with an update on the Text-my-gov. We have been working back and forth, and previously I told you that they wanted 6,500 a year. Got them down to 4,500 a year. The only difference from when I told you last time is if we accept the 4,500, they do want the one-time payment of the $500 fee to set it up. That's still for the 3-year contract, so 45 per year.
So the only, I know the commissioners, they approved it, and we commend you for getting the price down. The only question I had, and this may not even be able to be done, is. Would it have to be a 3-year contract? The only reason I say that is what about the community involvement? You know, I'm thinking if we spend the $4,500 after 1 year, you know, you have 100 people that signed up for it. Are we getting a return on our money? I mean, I don't know. I don't think we.
I agree with you.
And I don't know.
So I talked to him about that. He said that that was one of our concerns, and I couldn't get him to budge on the 3-year. I guess the way I view it is we've got 3 years to invest ourselves in this if we do it and see what we can make of it. If we don't like it after the 3 years, we could end it, look for a different one, decide this, we don't want anything period like this, or.
So since they came down in that amount of money, did it change any of the service?
No.
That they were gonna give us?
No, the only thing they did is they put a decision date on it of May 29th for that amount of money. That was the only thing that changed.
And I mean, the commissioners. I mean, you guys voted for it. Mike. So I think you guys think that it's a good thing.
May I chime in?
Yeah, go ahead.
So this is, a lot of people have questioned me over the last year as to what does EMA do in Starke County? And this is EMA trying to take a step to bolster what EMA is defined in Starke County. And I think creating the position, giving the job to Tori, but not supplying her with the tools to build that department would be a shame. And I'm not saying this is, you know, the right first step, but it's certainly a step to try to bolster what EMA is in the county.
So let's put some of the things to rest. So one, it's not gonna be pinging everybody's cell phone all the time, only if there would be an emergency.
Right,
Which my phone goes off now if there's a tornado through the National Weather Service.
right, so. Take the dust storm, for
I was
instance,
just gonna say, I didn't get any warnings
Right,
from
so
the weather
FEMA
service on that.
actually issued a warning that came to my phone. I'm signed up for all that kind of stuff, so I probably get a lot more than what the regular person does. I could have very easily, while we were driving down the road, jumped on and threw that out there, and anyone that was signed up for our service could have got the same alert, hey, this is coming. So, yes, you have to sign up for it, but no, it's not every little thing that the county's got going on.
So are they gonna help us with the marketing of it or help you?
Yes, so they provide like a QR code, they provide different assistances for us to use, learn from. You know, how to get people to sign up. Another thing we can utilize, like the fair and stuff. We're at the county fair, MetFest, all that anyways, we can pass stuff out. I'm there the whole time anyway, so we can set up maybe like a booth or something and walk people through it, explain it to them, answer questions, whatever.
I mean,
So what all are the things that we would get an alert on? Obviously a tornado, but
So like your weather related stuff, you know,
Different silver alerts.
That's what I was gonna.
a
so
what?
that.
Amber alert.
Your iPods, we will have access to, but like Indiana State Police takes care of a lot of like the missing persons and stuff like that.
so would there be able to be just like general county things put on there? Like for instance, I don't know, like the county fairs. Would there be a place on there for, or is it gonna be strictly emergency?
Personally, I would probably stick to like the emergency,
Because
because
if
I
you
feel
do
like
this,
you
everybody-
start rolling it
Everybody
too
would.
big, right? However. Whatever the county decides to do to push out is what we can push out. It is up to us. My recommendation would be sticking to like the emergency
So that it
stuff.
really, it's, people don't think, oh, it's just another alert about
Right,
a
so
meeting.
you
Right.
would do
Yeah.
snowstorms and.
So like if you follow the EMA page, a lot of that stuff we put out there would be what should go out there.
And the emergencies that you would put on this would be the discretion of like local law enforcement, fire departments, EMS and you.
Yes, so they, let's say Jim Garner from EMS contacted me and said, hey, you know, we'd like you to put a message out for Knox, because remember, we can geofence it just for certain areas too. You know, then I could go and put the alert out that Jim or, you know, whoever it was, or fire departments or whatnot, so.
Well, for an example, and it's not an emergency, but the other night when we had the dust storm,
Yes,
from what I understand, the roads, especially the total road area, a little section of it, the roads were pretty chaotic.
Yes.
Right?
so, yeah,
So would that be something that you would put an alert, say, please avoid total road and another, you know, due to the, is that considered an emergency that you would do or?
so without a decision, in my opinion, Total Road is a busy road, that, you know, so
Right.
35, 30. Let's say, yeah, Total Road's closed due to this, you know,
Okay.
dust storm. If that's the route we want to go, because that's something I would throw out on the EMA page if I had the highway department.
Well, that's what, I
Yeah.
forgot to include the highway
I
department.
mean, you all know, we've invested money in a lot dumber stuff.
Well,
Let's be realistic about it.
Return on investment. Like I follow the EMA page, but on Facebook, so much gets lost.
I know.
I was just looking, you've got almost 5,000 people following that page.
Yeah, it's
So if those people instead aren't relying on being logged into Facebook, I really think that you'll get the return on investment.
After the problems we've had across the country this last weekend, I think it would pay for itself pretty quickly.
Yeah, I think it's a good thing too.
I think it's really easy for people to use you use the QR code or you text, that they'll give us like a little number that you can text. And that's how you sign up for it, and then you never have to do anything with it again, unless you want to opt out. And then
Right.
I think you just send stop or something, but they'll train us on all that.
Derek?
So like during the storms, tree across the street came down, landed on the power lines right at the end of our driveway. started power lines in a tree on fire. That would be something you would be put on there,
I think we-
possibly,
Close the
I
road.
think we'd have to look into.
because there was people back and forth underneath this burning tree. Just like, you know what?
So that's something we could geofence, but I think we'd have to sit down and find out maybe about what
You're gonna
detail we
post
wanna
it.
go. Right.
Well, the fire department event, they were there and closed the road
Right.
shortly afterwards. so.
Right, and like I said, if that's between council and commissioners, if we wanna go that in detail, we can, because we can geofence certain area, we can send it out to anyone, however you wanted to do it. The company doesn't control what we put out, we control that, we just need to decide what we feel like needs to go out and then stick to that, so it doesn't.
Like, road closures, not only because of winter storms or whatever, but there's a bad accident or a fire or something like that. I feel like it fits within the purpose of this program.
Seems like it. I mean,
Avoid such and such area.
I mean, because those are the details you guys can all work out, but I think it is.
yeah. Okay, so, do we have, where are we taking the sign up down? Where'd you guys vote on? Jim?
I don't think we discussed where.
I don't think we did. Probably will be.
That's where it should come out of.
Yeah.
Cap,
That's where it should come out of, yeah. So with that being said,
How much was it?
so it's gonna be
5,000.
5,000 the first year.
45,000 the first year, and then 4,500
The next.
the next 2 years. So we don't really only need to
Good one for you to
pay for the 5,000 now. But we could appropriate the whole thing, but it wouldn't matter because it wouldn't go, we'd have to redo it again next year, so. So with that being said, do we have a motion to accept this so we can get this moving
I'll make that motion to proceed.
with the 5,000?
With 5,000.
Okay, we have a motion by Bill,
Second.
second, any further discussion? All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion carried.
Thank you, Carl.
Okay, that was easy. So moving right along. All right, we have to have a public hearing for additional appropriations. So I need a motion to open up the hearing for the additional appropriations.
So
Second. Okay, the hearing is open for the additional appropriations. This is ordinance number 10 of 2025. So we've already voted on this. This is just a public hearing for the appropriations. Okay, the first fund is park board. And that is $76,000. That is money they already have in their budget or in their fund. Okay, the next one, this is out of Cume Cap. We have 1384. That is for the ID printer and the ID cards for the employees. And the next one is 194,048. That's the 911 radio equipment and refresh. The next one is 52,452 capital outlay, replace obsolete computers once again. And the next one is another capital outlay. This is for an ambulance chassis of 2027. That's $100,000. And the last one, I guess, the next one is other services, 18,235. That was for concrete work for some ADA compliance ramps and a pad with place for some benches for the bison. Okay. And we can do all these at once, right? So that's a total of $366,119 out of Cume Cap. And then the only other one we have two other ones. The next one is out of the solar money. This is the capital outlay patrol car computers, $52,452. That is a total of $52,452 out of solar. And the last one is just MVH. I assume she crossed the restricted out. This is for stone supplies, gravel aggregates, 1176 for $200,000.
She said it will come out of restricted, but when I put it in the state thing, it has to be at unrestricted.
So yeah,
And then it
because
will,
the way the fund is.
right.
Yeah. So those are the additional appropriations we have. Anybody in the public? Have anything to say? Go ahead.
The solar funds for patrol cars, what was that in the patrol cars?
Computers.
Is that from the ADA money?
Yes.
Economic development, and how do computers
Patrol cars affect economic development,
It doesn't matter. That money is discretionary.
for economic development.
No,
No,
it's-
that's not coming out. You said solar funds.
Yeah,
She's saying economic development funds.
No, solar funds are the economic development agreement with the solar.
well, the solar funds are completely discretionary with the council. And that's the way,
There was one line at the end of your fund payment that said any other approved uses by the council, which is what you're referring to
Yes.
also.
all right, any other public comments? Did we have a motion to close the public hearing?
I'll make it.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, do we have a motion to accept these additional appropriations as I read them?
I'll
I-
make that.
Were some of them already approved or do we?
We approved all of them. All we're doing is just having the public hearing for them. They're already approved, so I don't know, we still have to vote on it though.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I'll make the motion.
okay, we have a motion by Kay,
Second.
Cassie seconds, any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, passed. Okay, we all have to sign this. Going, you're doing so good. Okay, the next thing we have on the agenda is the approval of the joint council commissioners meeting. The commissioners were not in quorum. So we kind of ran the meeting ourselves. This was on April 28th, 2025. Do we have a motion to approve minutes?
I'll move to approve as,
Bruce made the
The minute.
motion, second by Bill, all in favor?
I
All right, we're actually through all of our business. So does anybody in the public have anything they would like to add? 1 minute, go ahead.
I want to know why the EDA agreement with Dunn's Bridge 2 hasn't been addressed yet.
They haven't submitted one.
Not in front of us.
I have a copy if you'd like it. It was submitted in October.
How would you have one and us not have one?
The auditor's office has them.
How many copies, what is there 2 separate EDAs?
This is for Dunn's Bridge 2.
Is there 1 EDA or 2?
One, it says phase 1, phase 2 of Dunn's Bridge 2.
Because I thought they had originally came with 2 EDAs. One for the battery storage and one for the Dunn's Bridge. I don't want, I want to see it from them.
Anybody want it?
I want to see it from them.
Okay, I have the minutes from the October 21st meeting where you, Todd, made the motion to have a hearing on this EDA plan, seconded by Cassandra.
We could have a hearing once they've submitted.
I'd like to make a motion, since I can make a motion as a president, not vote on it. I'd like to make a motion that we have no hearing on it until we have the information in front of us.
Well, you can ask the auditor or next bureau, they
I'll
presented. it on
second
the-
that.
Okay, we have a motion and a second.
Could we have discussion on that?
They were at the meeting.
There's nothing to discuss. We want them to present it to us.
No,
There
wait
was
a minute, wait a minute, I'm
We
asking for
literally-
discussion, I'm a member of the council, I'm asking for discussion.
Would you let me
on a
talk?
motion.
Just hold on, we'll discuss it. There originally, I believe there was 2 EDAs, wasn't there? Wasn't there one for the battery and one for the solar? Is that correct?
Could I take a couple steps back and just ask a question? I wanna have discussion on the motion.
Question, you should know this answer, Dave.
What I was gonna say was, we haven't reached out to them and asked them for, an additional, EDA. I think that the first step would be to ask our attorney to engage their attorney and let them know that we want to negotiate an EDA. What I'm trying to tell you, Todd, is I'm not disagreeing with you. If you guys don't like the original ones, then the best thing to do would be negotiate a new one. You don't have to cut me off.
No, I don't, personally, myself, I don't even want to negotiate it.
You don't want nearly $1 million extra dollars.
I'd like to have the taxpayers maybe have the money through the taxes.
And it'll
Put that aside.
state, they'll give us back what they want to give us. It's,
How is that?
these 4 projects are almost $1 million a piece. I have the study on the Hoosier project.
We're not talking about the EDA in this meeting. That's not on the agenda.
Like, no, you don't want the extra money.
No, I'm not saying that. You can say whatever you want. We need to go about it in the proper
You
way.
voted on it in October, do it.
Point of order. That's all, please. Just let us conduct our business.
Live to the public.
We never lied to the public.
Obviously, next year.
Okay,
Let's move on.
Let's move on. Dave, what, so Dave, what do you,
Selling us to lose $1 million to our county.
one more time, that's it. That's it. Dave,
Yes.
so,
What I was gonna say is like, I think the best thing would be, because times have changed, ideas have changed. I think the next step, I just think because of the timing, I sent an email about this the other day, just because I was more concerned about the timing. I think we should, well, this is just me. I'm just asking that we ask our attorney to ask them to propose or engage in a negotiation of an EDA that's acceptable to the council. Because I don't disagree with you guys that, maybe what was said before, things were, maybe not understood. We had a study that was done since then. Because one of the things we've talked about before is, you're right, Todd, it is going to help and Bruce brought this up too before, it's going to help the tax rate because that property is going to be taxed at a higher amount. Now, the battery's not so much because you're only talking about 2.5 acres with an enormous amount of personal property that's going to sit on that footprint. But, so we'll get the benefit of the tax revenue, from the actual land itself. But I think that as far as the EDA is concerned, what we're really concerned about is that, expensive amount of hardware that's there. And with our fixed levy, we've talked about this, we can't get any of those tax dollars for Starke County. That's going to be great for the state because they're still going to collect that revenue, but we're not going to be able to tap into any of that because of our levy. And we looked at thawing the levy before. It's pretty hard.
It'll trickle down to a lower tax rate.
Dave, help me to understand here. So this would increase the taxable assets in the county, and we do have a frozen levy. So what that means is that the rate would drop, and it should save taxpayers dollars and put it in their hands instead of the government, correct? Because of the levy.
When we had the second study done, and it was, by an expert group, I know there was at least one that said that they didn't trust that source, but to be honest, they told us that the better deal was to go with the EDA. It was a very minimal amount of impact to the tax rate. And I don't want to put Justin on the spot, but Justin, do you remember what the opinion was on that study?
I have it.
I'm sorry, Dave, with opinion within the realm of.
Within the realm of what was better to go with an EDA, from the study itself, they did give us an opinion.
Are you talking about the Hoosier study, Dave?
No, that one that
I thought we did one for Nextera.
no, we never did one for Nextera. That's not for Nextera. That's for
Okay.
for Hoosier.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, then we're not talking about Hoosier.
It's $1 million also.
We never did.
We never did anything with Nextera.
Okay. Well, I guess I'm just talking though, like broad strokes here though, when it comes to, sorry to put you on the spot, Justin, that's true. But I guess the idea is that we've seen from other studies then that it's more beneficial to go with the economic development agreement, than it is with, letting the taxes just fly. I'm just saying maybe we should take a look at it still while we have time, and see what the offer would be, from them for an EDA, because we haven't actually negotiated one.
So question, Justin. When Nextera originally came to the commissioners with this, did they have two separate EDAs? Do you remember?
Because we're talking early fall 24, right? Because I think that was the last.
Yeah.
I think there were two EDAs.
Well, I don't know how we can have two EDAs when we only have one permit and one project, so I don't know why there's two EDAs.
Phase 1, phase 2, says it in the.
I remember when they did it, one was for the battery storage and one was because I got copies of them, I had requested copies, one was for battery storage and one was for the solar. So it was not their first project.
Right.
But this project, two separate things.
So we have two separate projects, but we only have one permit.
That's my understanding, there's one.
And I'll go back and look. It's been many months.
Yeah.
Their attorney reached out to me in January and asked if you guys were interested in the public hearing, and my response was, come to a meeting and ask them. I've not heard anything since January.
I never took them off the agenda.
You too.
It wasn't me. I never took them off.
You said we don't wanna hear from you. There were 10 of them that flew in to
Oh,
answer questions.
Oh, that's right, the lawyers, you're right.
No, they were engineers and project managers. They had every information and you said you didn't want.
Okay. That's enough. Quiet.
Yeah.
Pardon me?
Todd,
Yes, Dave.
if I could just sorry, and I didn't answer Bruce's question. So like looking at the assessed value, obviously, when the assessed value, when other things are raised, that does drop the tax rate, and we will get that from, from the land going up in value. It'll lower the overall tax levy because the tax levy calculation is based on the tax rate plus the assessed value. So, Bruce is right when it comes to the land.
What's hard to understand is how our assessed valuation went up, our tax rate went down. We asked for a 3% increase in the budget and everybody's property tax went up 10%.
So Dave, I guess what I'm trying to understand is so if it would drop $100, $200 per taxable unit, and you have 3,000 in the county, that comes up to 600,000 a year. What? And you're saying we're going to get $1 million from this one project from them? That doesn't sound right.
Whether we're talking about $1 million just for the batteries alone, so I think it's a little bit more than $1 million now, actually. But that's the thing. I think we'd have to get those calculations from them on what the numbers are. But I think you're right, Bruce. The offset is actually a little bit better in our favor for the EDA than it is the benefit for letting the taxes fly.
That's what I'd like to see. That's the comparison I'd like to see.
I think the thing we want to see too is how those EDAs were presented. Maybe they need to present different ones now, because if there was 2 EDAs originally, one for one project, one for another project, but we only have one permit. And they're both combined into one.
Representatives to be here.
Yeah.
Asking questions, and getting
What needs,
information.
you're right. And
You're not here.
the way I see things. Whether you're on the tax roll and an individual's taxes go down. Or the county gets the money, and just like we discussed a couple minutes ago, when we were talking about the police car radios. To be spent at the council's discretion. What I see happening in the future is we need to be, if we do, and my mind's not made up, certainly right now, if we would happen to do an EDA. That money would need to be spent in a manner to offset somebody maybe getting a $10 cheaper or $20 cheaper on their property tax value. I think the important thing with EDA money that we're going to start getting from the other projects is the money needs to be spent very, very carefully to benefit the taxpayers in specific ways that they're saving money. Does that make sense to anybody?
Perfect.
Does it make? No, I'm not for that. But my point is that because we've already given EDAs. So whether we give another one or not, that's yet to be seen. But my point is the money needs to be spent in a very careful manner that the entire county, the taxpayers benefit the most out of. And I'm going to make it public right now. I am personally not for spending all of it. I think a lot of it should be salted and put in a fund, a perpetual fund that'll carry on for years.
And with what you said, Howard, there's another thing that comes into play too, I think, is just what you said. Do we want to make the decision for somebody 15 years down the road?
Right, and I'm gonna, while I do have the floor here for a minute, I'm gonna make a point. Typically, when we were dealing with Hoosier Solar, they were here at every meeting we asked them to be. the other project, the Bass Lake area, help me with the name.
Mammoth.
Mammoth.
They were good.
The Mammoth gentleman is, he's usually here at every meeting. And now we're down to dealing with Next Era through, from what I understand, attorney to an attorney. That their line of communication with us has been pretty poor. And I would like to see that improve. If
Well-
somebody was sitting there right now, maybe they could help us answer some questions, but I would like to. I do remember that. I do remember.
That wasn't discussion that was up for that night. They were not on the agenda.
Yes, they were.
Okay, it doesn't matter. I made the decision that we were not gonna move forward with it. And everybody else voted that way too, so it was not a singular decision. It was a decision made by this board. I cannot control this board. I can't even vote unless it's a tie.
And another EDA, a second EDA for Next Era, could be negotiated totally different than the first one. It could be, they may throw things at us that we like or dislike. It's up for negotiation, and I would like to see, them present to us a new clean EDA that they would
Because
like. Then we can discuss it and go back and tell them what we don't like or what we do expect or what.
Because there's no, correct me if I'm wrong, Justin, but there is no prerequisite on a EDA. Just because we did one doesn't mean we have to do all of them. And when the decision made by us, if we do deny it, it's done. There's no appeal to the state, there's no appeal to anybody, it's over with, it's done. It's done. Correct.
The petitioner can't appeal it.
Yeah,
If
but
there's
it's
a
gonna be a mute. Yeah, we had that discussion. So I guess Howard, if you want somebody to come here and talk to us, they can. I think that it's gonna have to go back in front of the commissioners again, if we're gonna have a different
Well,
ERA and EDA.
I think we need to have an EDA in front of us.
They have to come in front of the commissioners with one. And then,
Is that agreeable, Mike?
whatever they do with it will control our actions.
I don't hate it to me. I mean, I don't see no harm in Right. hearing.
Yeah, we
Hearing
should
out.
put them
Right.
on the agenda.
Right. I think everybody should have the right to be heard.
But
Todd, if you don't mind, I just want to make it really clear, though, that the EDA is the responsibility of the fiscal body, not the commissioners. So,
Every other one they've approved before it's came to us.
no, I'm not saying they wouldn't be involved in it. I'm just saying, though, that the
That's what I'm
fiscal
saying.
body is directly involved or, directly responsible for an EDA.
Okay, well, that's fine then.
But I also wanted to point out, though, is that it's the time clock, because we've had this debate. I believe now that we all agree that construction means putting pilings or foundation into the ground, according to what case law, or I'm sorry, what law, dictionaries say, and what the federal government says. And I think they're probably getting close to that. So I don't know, I think we need our attorney to reach out to their attorney to make that request sooner than later.
Can I make a request?
Yeah.
If you guys do decide to entertain this, maybe you seek independent legal counsel to negotiate the EDA. This is a discussion I had with the commissioners at one point. For the same reason that they wanted separation between planning commission, BZA, and attorney. If you guys wanted me to, you're my client, I would do it. Cut a lot of flack last time, and I think it was discussed many a time amongst both boards that maybe an independent attorney to negotiate that would be better than your county attorney. Again, if you wanted me to, I would do it. I'm just gonna make that request. And whether or not it's the planning commission attorney right now who wants to do that, or whether or not you guys want a separate firm. Again, I would do it for you if you asked, but it was a heavy point of discussion last time, and I at least want to say that you're not stepping on my toes, you're not hurting my feelings.
Todd, can I just make one comment? I keep hearing about how many millions of dollars that this is gonna bring in, and it maybe is. But I'd like to know how much of this money, if it was brought in on the tax rolls. I hear, well, it isn't gonna do this, it isn't gonna do that. I'd like to see it in black and white. I'd like to see what it would do for the tax rates of the taxpayers in Starke County. Not just for a few people, but for the taxpayers.
Because we all very well know they wouldn't be offering us that money if that was less money than what they were gonna pay in taxes.
And Dave might
That's business.
very well be right,
Yeah,
but I would like to see how that affects our tax.
Bruce,
How-
did you see the report that we
That was-
paid for?
That was on Hoosier.
It was Hoosier, but it showed
Okay, well-
the effect on the tax.
That was Hoosier.
It's irrelevant.
It's irrelevant. We're talking about-
Do
You
we
have-
trust- do we
you have a whole
trust-
different, you have a whole different thing than that. There's no batteries in the Hoosier.
Do we trust this new, do we trust the one though that did the recent study to maybe do another study? I mean, it's, I don't think it's a bad idea.
Yeah, no.
No.
Isn't there anybody downstate that we can talk to about, our, how this would affect? No? Okay.
I think,
It's just a
go
question.
ahead, Tom.
I mean, it seems clear that we don't really know, because there isn't an EDA in front of you, how much revenue that's gonna bring in. And the second thing we don't know is if the tax rate, if the property was taxed at whatever it is, we don't know exactly what that is. It seems like due diligence would require knowing both those numbers.
We don't have
Answer for yourself.
information to make a wise decision in my opinion.
Well, but you can't have it unless you contact next year and say.
Well, we don't want it from them, just like we don't want it from, it's gotta be somebody completely independent. 100% independent.
I'm just saying they need to present an EDA that you can evaluate, that's all I'm saying. So that you know what the numbers are, or you can have someone evaluate what the numbers are in both situations.
Because we don't even know.
All seems to make sense.
Because I don't know how this all plays into having two different EDAs and only one permit and one project, when the EDAs were for two different projects, and there's only one project now. So right there is a hiccup in the whole thing as far as maybe I'm wrong, I don't know.
That's a
But
valid.
if there were two, neither one would approve anyways, right?
Yeah, no,
So,
but they only have one permit, they only have one permit and they have two EDAs, so. Either there has to be another permit, or those have to be combined, or there has to be, I don't know, I'm just asking the question. I don't know the answer. It just seems weird to me. That you have two EDAs like there's two projects, but you only have one permit for construction.
I think to your point, Todd, there's a lot of reasons why a new one would probably be a good idea.
But
I was gonna say, Todd, I don't know that there ever was an EDA for Dunn's Bridge 3. That's the one that's in question. Dunn's Bridge 2 is completed and built. Dunn's Bridge 1 was totally over a wheat field.
right,
The one we're talking about
It's
here is
3.
Dunn's Bridge 3, and I don't think they ever gave an EDA to you guys for that.
Need to give a.
You know, I'm not positive, but that's what with my limited knowledge is that wasn't, ever done.
I mean, I don't remember ever seeing one.
I'm looking, I think I have both of them in my. hand.
Maybe there are someplace and
Yeah, I reviewed preliminarily a first version of an EDA, because that's when we discovered there were two separate SB1 forms. So there were two separate portions to that project.
Right.
That I know there was an original EDA. I looked at it preliminarily. It never went further than that. We just
So-
got to it.
I guess just with what Justin said. Having those two forms and two separate projects and they only have one permit. Either they're gonna have to have another permit. Or they're gonna have to have a new EDA that consolidates. All that together, because I mean, I don't know.
But aren't we isn't that putting the cart before the horse when they want an EDA before they file for a permit?
Well, they have one permit, but they
They have
filed,
the permit,
but they filed
They
two.
put battery and solar under
Do
one.
we even know they want an EDA? I mean.
Well, they do. I'm sure they do.
They haven't reached out to us.
To
But
Todd's
here's the-
point, the EDA does benefit anybody that wants to do an abatement with us. Of course, it benefits the business, so
Yeah, we all know
they
that.
would, they would, Todd's right, they would want that.
I mean, no business, I mean, that's doing business. That's not like nothing against them. That's just the way business is done.
We still have that judicial review pending on whether solar panels constitute new manufacturing equipment.
Yeah.
Haven't heard that decided by any court yet. So maybe it's premature to be voting on anything till we see how that resolves.
Yeah. Have you heard what Cassie said? There is a court case now.
The petition for judicial review filed by citizens, and one of the key points was whether in those statement of benefit forms, whether solar panels actually qualify as new manufacturing equipment. It's with Jason Kuchme representing, we haven't had any decision rendered on that. I think the hearing on it is in June. So, and the court might be making a decision sometime in then, as far as whether the citizens have a legitimate point where that ERA should be void.
So I guess my thinking is, I guess, if they want to come in front of us and we want to entertain the idea and them coming in front of us, it appears to me that there's gonna have to be some explaining to be done as to why there was two projects and why there was two EDAs, but there's only one permit. And if they're consolidating that all into one, I would think that there would only be one SB1, one statement of benefits instead of two.
In theory.
I don't know.
Right.
So it was October, right around October 16th is when I got it. And there's two, solar array, SB1, battery storage, SB1. So it was two separate, to Justin's point, it was two separate agreements. And then I know it went in front of the commissioners. I think, Donnie might remember, I think you guys passed it down. And then from there, I'm not sure. But
Could I just ask though, like, what's the debate about that? Whether it's one or two, like, what's preventing us from asking them to engage with us to discuss a new one? I don't understand, like, I don't understand the point. The battery storage versus solar, that's driven by statutory, guidance from the state that, they have to comply with the state, like the state sets that up. So, but I'm just wondering, like, without so much debate and speculation on whether, challenges are going to stand or not, like, instead of letting the clock tick away from us and fall away from our reach, because if they start construction in July, which they hinted that before, it's going to be too late if we don't start something now, is all I'm saying.
Well, there's no way we're gonna make a decision by July. We got one meeting, we have to have a public hearing, there's no way. That's a month away.
I don't think anybody's hearing what I'm saying. I would like to know what the impact would be for our taxpayers in this county if we elected not to have an EVA.
Gotcha.
Because you can get $1 million, you can get $1.5 million. What does it mean to our taxpayers? Forever, money is better in the hand of the tax holders than it is in the government. And I
agree.
And
citizens agree with
I don't want to cut off our nose to spite our face, but I'd like to see what the impact is on our taxpayers.
So I think what you're saying in a nutshell, Bruce, in simple terms, if somebody's paying $1,000 a year in property taxes,
how much is it gonna go down?
how much is it gonna go down? Like, right? That's
So
what
I talked to somebody down at the AIC meeting in November about what you're discussing here. And I would recommend look at the phenomenon that happens in Union Township in Marshall County. They have the lowest taxes of anywhere in Marshall County. And the reason they have the lowest taxes is because of the Lake Maxinkuckee houses. They have really high taxes, correct, which helps drive down the tax rate for
Everybody else.
And that's what a frozen levy is supposed to do, but
the land they're using.
I just don't feel like the taxpayers are being heard. I think the people, I hear people say that they're paying this much money in taxes, it's too much money in taxes. And then when you go to try to do something to lower taxes, then all of a sudden it's a bad thing.
So correct me if I'm wrong, Dave, but before we could even do a study, which I agree with Bruce wholeheartedly, they're gonna have to give us a proposal, of what they propose they're gonna do, what they're gonna offer us. We just can't take an arbitrary number and say, okay, well, we think it's gonna be this much, but well, they're gonna give us this much.
We don't even know the scope of their project. We don't know how much money.
I'm totally with you guys. Like, I'm with Bruce. Like, I mean, I think it's worth spending the money on another study with whatever they offer, because at the end of the day, like, you guys know yourselves, starting next year, taxes are going to be lowered for property taxpayers, and we may be out of money. Now, the state has said since I've started on the council, then you guys just have to cut. You have to reduce your workforce, you have to reduce your assets, all those kind of things. Like, that's one option. But if one option to survive is through EDA dollars, through a project like this, I think we owe that to the taxpayers, that we studied it at least and decided that it was better off not to have it if we're not gonna do it. Like, I think there's a reason to take a hard look at it for both reasons.
I agree.
Okay, so with all that being said, Bruce. We need to have, I think we need to have Nextera give us their proposal, their ADA.
And at the meantime, where do we begin to find out what the impact will be on our
Well,
taxpayers?
So Cassie. You would volunteer,
I would.
To find
volunteer,
somebody
'cause I found
totally-
I found someone before and then nobody let me know, and then we used this company that Dave came out with. And I think we need somebody.
When you say Dave, who do you mean? Like, do you
I
mean a
mean
mouth in your
you.
pocket named Dave or me? Cause I didn't
You.
come up with anybody.
You
that
didn't
did a
want to
study.
put
I think Justin found the company.
We said that Pulaski County had used
Yeah,
Peters
that's been
consulting when Baker Tilly was conflicted out.
Yeah.
Like,
Cause I was told that it was a company David.
Yeah, so.
known about.
So they need to come, before we can have anybody look at it, we have to know what they're offering, because we can sit here and argue about it. For another 2 minutes,
They hear us some questions instead of sending.
I would find out.
I don't know.
Blackers.
Well, I suppose the thing of it is reach out to them if they wanna.
So Justin, will you be willing to do that?
yeah, I can do that. I want to
understand.
know when it comes to if you guys want to negotiate this. You may want to consider an independent attorney to do it, so you can keep county counselors separate from person negotiating these agreements.
Yeah, I agree.
But I'm happy to reach out and say, give us a new proposal based
Yeah.
on, I can, yeah.
Okay.
But I'm gonna make something perfectly clear right now. I'm not gonna vote in favor of an EBA until I find out what the impact of the taxes
Yeah.
will be on our taxes.
Yeah. I think that's.
I don't wanna cut our nose off to spite
No,
our face.
That's a very fair statement.
And I would like to ask if there is a study.
Yeah, there's gotta be.
Supposedly there was studies done in the past. Who gets it? I've never seen it.
Well, not only that, the study that was done before, this is a whole different thing.
So Bill.
You can't take a study you use for something, use it for something else, because this is the difference, more megawatts in batteries, it's totally different. It's totally different. Okay, Sandy?
But I don't feel
feel-
it was on
We use
my
the same
face.
thing we use for closure.
we.
When we find out what their assets are
Yeah.
and figure it by the rate that they did for theirs.
I think that some of us may not have been so happy with that study,
There's certain companies that do a lot of work like that for solar companies, so it's easy to construe that they're possibly in
So
bed
they're
with
not
solar.
impartial. You're saying.
so. All right.
Until you find out what their assets are, how can you even figure what the taxes would be?
So I don't think we need a motion, or I don't know if we do, but I want Justin to
If they don't-
contact Nextera. Okay,
Sure.
all right.
Todd,
And
could
then-
I say one more thing and
Yeah,
I'll shut
sure.
up after that? I just wanted to say that, I've been to a couple planning commission meetings and I do think that the planning commission attorney is pretty sharp.
Well, we're not gonna use the same attorney they're using. I mean, that once it turns into just as much conflict as having more conflict than having Justin. As far as
Oh, okay. I thought somebody thought that was a good idea. I didn't know, but
think
he
that-
seems like he's pretty good.
But
I put out there that before any attorney or any company is selected, that all the council members have an opportunity to review this person's CV qualifications and vote on it as a council instead of someone just being selected by 1 or 2 council members.
yeah, I think they have to be.
Since we're in a public meeting though, can I ask though, what was selected by 1 or 2 council members? That bothers me when I hear that. I don't remember anything being selected by 1 or 2 council members.
It
And if
happened last winter when Todd wanted a study, and then there was all of a sudden a 3-page study. It was a really brief study. I had been researching companies to do it, and all of a sudden one just appeared, and I sure didn't get to vote on it. I don't know who selected it. I was told it was you and that Todd had somehow been involved also, and I think the whole council should be, instead of it just being thrown at us by one person who is a solar liaison.
I agree. I mean, it should be. Should be independent, it should be thorough, and
That's right.
let the chips fall maybe where they may fall, where they may fall. All right. Anybody else have anything else? Yeah, I forgot about you. I didn't forget, but no, I get it back to you.
Thank you.
I'd like to ask permission for you to approve conflict of interest form for myself. Two reasons. One, my employer, Johnson Landscape Maintenance, is a landscape company that would like the opportunity to be able to bid on upcoming projects for our department. We have experience with the one that I have in mind would be the new parking lot for the 23 launch that we're gonna be building this summer. It's going to be a 1 acre gravel pad. We have experience building exactly that. We've got the equipment, the experience to do it. Second reason would be I'm starting up a small 3D printing company, and I've talked with our superintendent, Amy Flora, and she thinks that it would be a great idea for us to use stuff like this as a fundraiser in the beach house. Since you're the board that appointed me, I need your permission or denial if you choose for my conflict of interest forms.
Would we be the ones that would?
I believe so, because you're his appointing authority. I looked at the statute just at the beginning of the meeting, and it looks like the disclosure statement complies. I would assume that you'd also have to abstain from the vote, so.
Absolutely, I would recuse from both discussion and votes.
Yeah.
That's refreshing.
Tom has a question.
That would be both refrain from discussion and the vote.
Yeah, there would have to be.
I just wanted.
As long as he abstains from his vote, I don't see any problem with it. I'll make a motion to approve this with the caveat that he abstains from all vote concerning this.
Do we have a motion and a second?
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. So,
Who seconded it? I'm sorry. Howard.
You want this back?
you did say that. Howard, yeah. So.
Put it in it.
It's a slap.
When I entered that.
Well.
I'm not sure if it's just.
What do we do here? It only has 3 lines.
The signatures.
I don't know.
So I sign it or what?
Yeah, it's in the minutes. You guys approved it. It should be fine.
Okay.
Better date it too. What's?
But I think we're just all signing one.
We signed this one, we voted on, this is just everybody's for everybody's.
I'm gonna take one.
What do you guys do?
Are you supposed to sign these or not?
The back is the public servant, that's where he signs the back. He's got his page.
Oh, we're signing individual ones?
Clerk's office, I believe, that's why I'm keeping a signed copy so I can.
Take it. If you can I'll rest on bill, you got it.
Maybe we could probably.
You haven't signed that. I just went to see what it was.
We gotta sign like 2 of them. And we can all sign them. This is a different one, right?
See what it looks
No, it's the
like.
same, yeah, different form, but.
How's the project?
That's why I'm saying it again, do I?
Yeah, maybe we want to sign.
Something's delayed, so.
Yeah, it's not gonna be ready, is it?
It's not moving as fast as we know.
So are you out there about it? I'd like to see what is done.
Sure, we go out there and they have meetings every Wednesday.
No. So do we have any other business? Anybody else?
Wednesday, they have a meeting.
Do we have a motion adjourned? Make a motion, adjourn. Have a motion, Bill, second, Kate, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, motion adjourned. See you there.
I need my paperwork back. Betsy.
Paperwork.
Paperwork. Sign one of those.